WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network presents with Transformational Life Coach.
Well, hello and welcome to the Manifest Your Ideal Life show. My name's Angela Kane and I'm your host, along with my dear friend and colleague, Mary Tudor. You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. Both Mary and I are transformational life coaches, and this show is all about how to consciously manifest your ideal life. Over the coming weeks, we'll be exploring all the ways in which we sabotage our happiness and get in our own way, and how to move past that into consciously creating what we want instead of what we don't want. And coming up today, we're going to be discussing the universal law of cause and effect, which I'm sure most, if not all, of our listeners will have had some experience and knowledge of, because I think it's one of the laws that all of us have heard of and most of us have perhaps given it a little bit of thought. But before we get into that huge topic, let's say hello to Mary. Are you there, Mary?
Hi, Angela, and everybody who's with us today. Yes, great to be back doing another little conversation between us. We always come up with some amazing stuff, and I'm loving the idea of cause and effect this morning. Take it away, Angela. Let's see where we go.
Well, this came to me at 4:30 this morning, Mary, as I was still awake. You know, there was various reasons. I had 2 cups of tea before I went to bed. Not a good idea, even though it was green. But then, of course, I was reading because of, I couldn't sleep. Yeah. And I picked up a book that I'd heard mentioned a couple of days before and thought, I've not read that for years. And I picked up a book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And I think this book, I think I'm right in saying that this was written in 1903.
Oh, goodness.
So, you know how we talk about the stuff that we talk about with the universal principles and so on is not new information, and it absolutely isn't new information, but it goes back thousands and thousands of years, in the Vedic practices and all, various different religions. But, it's interpreted differently. And so, but people were writing about this kind of thing, obviously, in 1903, before and after that. But this book particularly, I think, is really good because it's not that long, and there are a few absolute gems in there. And I've not read most of it again yet, but I am going to do that within the next few days. But one thing right at the beginning that really struck a chord with me, a paragraph that he starts off with, and I thought, it's so profound, Mary. I'd like to read it today, if that's okay.
Oh, yes, please.
With you and the viewers, our listeners. And he says, excuse me, mind is the master, power that molds and makes, and man is mind. And evermore he takes the tool of thought, and shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys or 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. Wow, every time I read that, I get chills.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know about any of our listeners, but I've gone goosey hearing that.
Yeah.
Very profound, as you say. Yeah. Very profound.
And basically, what is he saying? He's saying that we are the master of our thoughts, and that whatever we think, obviously, leads to the actions that we take or don't take, and that creates the causes in our life, which brings me to the cause and effect.
Yeah.
Because I think, if we really look at that, and I think, we know that happens in life. We know that for every cause there's an effect, and for every effect there's a cause. We all know that.
Yeah.
But do we ever really, really think about that and what that means?
Yeah, and I certainly, as I'm listening to you there, Angela, the image that keeps floating up for me is about the tiny baby who learns that if I cry, somebody will come to me. So somebody might come and help me feel safer, or give me food, or get me clean and dry and warm again. And it's like the cause and effect understanding starts way back there. My sense, though, that as we grow, our evolution and our learning and understanding needs to be linked with causing an effect rather than cause and effect. And that's where we are with the, as you say, the law of attraction and the other universal laws, where we start to understand that we are all vibrational. Everything on this planet is vibrational. It has a frequency, it has a resonance, and that the law actually is that like will attract like in that respect. So if I'm feeling particularly grumpy one day and I'm out driving along the road, chances are I will have an experience where there's a lot of grumpy drivers on the road. But if I'm actually out resonating joy of living, lightness of purpose, happiness, all those things, chances are I'll have an easy free ride to where I want to get. Other people are very accommodating. And I think that this principle that you've raised for us this morning is so vital for us to explore if we are going to take our full power and control within our lives and understand that it's not a victim mentality of cause and effect. It's actually very much an empowering mentality of causing an effect. I love what you read out.
It's fabulous, isn't it, Mary? And yes, I agree. And I think that most of us, I know I certainly did for many, many years, was on the effect end. But I didn't realise that I was also the cause.
Yeah.
I thought these things were happening to me. You know, I thought circumstances out there were causing the effect that was going on in my life, and that I was powerless to change it. And obviously, like you, Mary, through my years of study and so on, I know now, and I've known for quite some time, thankfully, that that's not the case. And, you know, that boils down to taking responsibility of being the cause as well as the effect.
Yeah.
Because say, for instance, you know, say somebody loses their job. They will see that as the effect, but they won't feel necessarily that they're the cause. And but if you've been sacked, then certain things, you know, incidents, behaviours, whatever the reason, will most likely have led up to that you're being sacked. But we don't like to take responsibility for things like that. You know, we like to think that that's not our fault, because it sits easier with us to think, well, this has happened to me and how bad are they, and, you know, and this is not my fault. That sits easier than actually saying, well, actually, I've contributed to this. You know, there's a lot of things I could have done differently. And this is completely without judgment, without blame here. There is no blame. It's just the circumstances that have occurred in our life. And circumstances occurred because of the unawareness, don't they, Mary, of things?
Absolutely, the unawareness. And I think there's it's lovely that you've picked up the example of maybe you got sacked at work. I can remember I got made redundant twice within my working career before I became self-employed. And the first time, I can say, was an absolute shock, and it was like, what's going on? The second time, I had a body of experience within myself that said, do you know what, when you looked back, you would have stayed in that job if something didn't actually root you out of it and get you to a better place in life. And I'm sure that my higher self was actually sort of drumming its fingers on the desk saying, if she's going to sit here much longer, she's not going to achieve what she wants to in life. So we best actually help her out and move her along. Initially, could I see anything like that? No, it was all about, well, why was it me that was in the redundancy category, etc., etc. So falling into kind of victim mode and all that game playing. But I'm kind of interested, as you're talking, Angela, I'm feeling within myself the word cause and effect. And I'm noticing that each time you're saying cause, I'm feeling a little, it's almost I'm feeling a little prickly in my energy. And I was kind of going, well, what's that about? And I can sense that I've got energetic experiences there of almost, I've been aware that when you've talked about the word, you've used the word cause, I felt slightly prickly in my energy, and I thought, well, what's that about? And I could see that it was related to early years at school, where there was an issue, a problem, something had gone wrong, and the teacher would turn around and look for the cause of it. Which child was to blame? So I think for me, great work, thanks Angela, you're a terrific coach, aren't you? I can actually go away from this particular session and help myself look at, can I rebrand the word cause and detach it from the word blame, which obviously fits in my energy, and can I find a word that I would prefer to put there? And I think instantly what springs to mind is that when we're talking about cause, we're wanting to actually look at it being creative rather than destructive. You are the creative cause of something rather than cause being a negative connotation, which obviously it apparently is in my experience. And thank you for waking me up to another level this morning, Angela. Lovely show.
Well, you know, we teach what we need to learn, Mary, don't we?
Perfect.
And I thought, obviously, this is something that I need to revisit. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been awake at 4:30 reading this book. So, you know, it's something that I'm going to be really looking into. But I don't know who it was. Many, many years ago, I think it might have been Bob Proctor, who I'd followed for 30 years and absolutely love. And I remember him saying once that each time you pick up a book, you see something different in it.
Yes.
And it's not because those words weren't there before. It's because you've changed and your awareness has changed. Something in you has changed. Not anything in the book, obviously. And I think that's true for many, many books that I read. And sometimes it's just a case of, you know, picking something up and reading a couple of pages or even a paragraph that resonates, that we need to hear at that time. And but certainly I think I remember going back, you know, in my early metaphysical training and talking about cause and effect, and I think that is fundamental to understand if we are to create our ideal life, to manifest our ideal life. Because if we're causing something, but we think that we're the effect, you know, we're on the effect side, then we're powerless to change it. So we have to really dig deep there, don't we, and really look at, okay, so this has happened. So what is my part in this? How have I somehow led to this happening? How have I somehow created this effect? And you know, that's a big pill to swallow when you first start doing this work, because it's like, well, no, I haven't done it. You know, it's them. It's their fault. This has been done to me. I haven't done it. But if you keep digging deeper, you will find the gift in there. And the things that we really don't want to face and don't want to look at are the best gifts that we can possibly have given to us, because that gives us the awareness to start to change it.
Wonderful, Angela. I'm so grateful that you were awake at 4:30 this morning for myself and those who are listening to this podcast. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Mary. And, you know, as I said before, a few minutes ago, you know, we teach what we most need to learn, don't we? And so I need to really revisit this and really delve deeper, because I feel sure that this time when I delve deeper into this book, some ahas will arise, and I'll think, yes. So that will be another layer that's been peeled away. another layer of understanding that I've gained, and all part of our evolution, isn't it? That, we keep moving forward. There's no such thing as staying still, they say, don't they? Well,
No.
we know that because we live in a vibratory universe, so we're either moving forward or we're going backwards. There is no staying still. And certainly, I know for you and I, and for people that are attracted to this show, are going to be moving forward or in the place where they want to learn how to move forward.
It's amazing, Angela, amazing. And it sounds to me like you've hit the right spot for your little time for a break phrase that you often come up with.
Yes, I think it is, Mary. So we'll go to a break, but we'll be right back with you to carry on our discussion about cause and effect. So please stay with us.
Have you been getting enough lately? You know what I mean. Inspiration. Join us right here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, the singles internet talk station, for all your inspiration.
You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, singles talk radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Hello and welcome back to the Manifest Your Ideal Life show with me, Angela Kane, and my dear friend Mary Tudor. And before the break, we were discussing the huge topic of the law of cause and effect, and how our life really is created by the causes and the effect of what goes on in our life, or the lack of the action that we take from that law, and also how very often we find ourselves on the effect side, but we don't realise that perhaps we were also the cause as well. And so we were chatting during the break, weren't we, Mary, about an appointment I had yesterday.
Yeah.
And the lady that a doctor's appointment, and the lady that I went to see, I spent probably an hour or so talking to her about her own life. And this tends to happen to me pretty much everywhere I go. I don't know about you, Mary, I'm sure it's the same, but people just tend to tell you things. And I think it's because we have that energy of, we want to help people, we care about people, we're interested in people. And people can feel that, even on a subconscious level, they feel it.
Yeah.
And that's something that's happened to me throughout my whole life. And I'm sure it has you as well, Mary. But what I was noticing was that the thoughts this lady was having, and I could see from the things that she was telling me of the thoughts in her mind, were causing the effect that's going on in her life.
Okay.
And she was aware of that, but didn't really know what to do about it. And it's like, it boils down to that quote that we started the show off at, Mary, really, doesn't it, from James Allen, when he said that environment is but our looking glass. So sometimes everybody else can see what's going on for us, but we can't, because we're so steeped in it, we're so involved in it.
And sometimes not ready for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes it's not ready. Just like you said, sometimes you can pick up a book and you will absorb one aspect of it. Another day you might open it, and because you're in a different place and space, you read different things, you hear it differently, you understand differently.
Yeah.
And I think that certainly my kindness to myself that I would use in this part of creating what happens in my life is to say, be kind to yourself, Mary, because yes, you have caused quite a few interesting effects which have come about, and that is your life. But actually, don't be hard on yourself with it, because your awareness has grown through it, and you're in a very different place now. Now when I actually look at, whoops, that effect has come about, not quite what I would have openly planned, maybe, but okay, Where do I now want to enhance my awareness? What can I now go and do about it? So again, yesterday there'd been a particularly interesting meeting about my dad's care package. And I was, a previous meeting I'd been involved in with that, I felt very much it was a tricky meeting, uncomfortable energy, a lot of hidden agendas going on, and a lot of abuse of power, really, from people in significant jobs. And so coming towards this meeting yesterday, I was quite nervous, and I just took myself quietly to one side, and I thought, okay, what is the outcome you want from this, Mary? And it immediately started a different thought pattern working for me. And I did quite a few interesting things. I looked at how the room might be set up so it was more conducive to friendship rather than opposition. So using a kind of circle with people rather than actually saying people are sitting opposite each other and therefore direct. Looking at maybe saying, well, you know, maybe something like a couple of little crystals in the background there, very unobtrusive, but asking those crystals to work very strongly towards a peaceful outcome. And we had a most amazing meeting, and I'm sure a large part of that was an experience for me, which was to say, you've been with these people and had a really tricky ride. Now the universe is saying, how much have you learnt about your own role in this setup, Mary? How can you take charge of your power? And actually, you can't actually decree what people are going to say, but you can influence the atmosphere, and therefore the likelihood of people moving towards an outcome that I would prefer rather than an outcome that they might prefer. Interesting that we're talking about cause and effect this morning, Angela.
Yes. But the environment does have, you know, it does have a great impact, doesn't it? Because you can, if you go into a room, people are stressed out or angry, you can feel that instantly. And that is, you know, that is not conducive for a calm and happy and a meeting that's likely to end well.
No. And also for me to actually look at what were the thoughts I was thinking, and most of my thoughts were anxiety-based, fear-based, and just thinking, hang on a minute, Mary, just get into that cupboard of thinking and spring clean it, and just say, what is the outcome I would like? Okay, if I want that outcome, what are the thoughts that I need to be familiar with? How do I need to be within myself? So making sure that before the meeting I'm going, okay, in the past I might have been quite anxious at this stage. It's like, no, get yourself sitting down quietly and ask for help and support within yourself to have a very calm meeting and a very positive outcome. Interesting times.
And it was a positive outcome, I take it, Mary.
It was a positive outcome. There's still a way to go, but actually the fact that we all spoke so calmly towards each other was absolutely amazing and wonderful. Everybody had respect for each other, which was great.
Good. Yes, well, I don't think it's any accident, Mary, that you were instructing the energy and the crystals there, and that, you know, that's obviously had a calming and positive effect on all the participants. Yeah,
and remembering that those aspects for life are available to us, so we can use crystals. Just simply thinking about, if you're in a meeting, can you put a round situation together, rather so we're all sitting around a table or we're all sitting in a circle, rather than being opposite each other and therefore open to a bit more confrontation. So looking at the environment and seeing how we can use it to help us with our outcome. And then, of course, there's always the ultimate, which is calling upon other beings of light that might come and be with you to provide support and help along the way. But maybe that's another show and broadcast for us to talk about beings of light.
Yes, I think that'd be a very interesting topic to talk about, Mary, because so many of us do not ask for help, you know. And we were discussing this morning before the show, weren't we? That you know, we're ever ready to give the help, but asking for it is a different matter altogether. And so many people think they have to do everything alone.
Whereas actually it's an incredibly benevolent universe. There's a little phrase which a friend of mine is very familiar with, and she always says, "Oh, I wonder how the universe is going to surprise and delight me today." And I love that because it helps her start the day with great anticipation, great sort of childlike wonder. She's put out there to say, you know, I would really like this and this to be happening. I wonder how the universe is going to help me do that, because it always does. Because things are always working out for me.
Yeah.
And that little phrase, things are always working out for me, is probably one of my most favourite little helping tools for myself.
Yeah.
So I come across maybe an issue in the day which I think, didn't really think that was going to happen. And it just makes me pause and say, well, it's interesting it's happened, because, you know, everything is always working out for me. So there must be a reason for this.
Yeah.
And it just helps me stop and pause and get into that different mindset and say, just take a step back a minute, Mary, and just say, maybe this has happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Maybe it's happened for a reason. Maybe there's something that's supposed to happen today that, you know, if you were to sit down and think about it logically, it wouldn't happen. But actually there's a greater force, and allow it to help you, really.
Absolutely. Allowing is another huge topic that we can cover, isn't it? Because it's you know, we want the good to come into our life, but if we don't allow it, if we're blocking it, then it's not going to come in.
No, and often, I don't know about you, Angela, but certainly for myself, and I know quite a few others, the blocking of the allowing, the stopping the allowing, is largely tied up to belief systems.
Yeah.
Belief as to whether we're worthy enough.
We're worth it, yeah.
Yeah, whether we're worth it. Oh, it's okay for other people, but it won't happen for me, so I'm being small again.
Yeah.
And it's actually, I think, enabling ourselves to come to a point where when something does happen, something does spin off in life, is to just pause for that moment and say, okay, that's happened. Can I just be shown why it's happened? Often a bit of insight. I mean, you could have kicked around at 4:30 this morning, tossing and turning, going, oh, I can't sleep, this is awful. But you didn't. You had the presence of mind to go, okay, what can I be doing here that's creative and constructive? And you picked up that book and you started to read, and you got the insight. And here we are now talking about it in our usual fun broadcasting way. And, you know, that was meant to be, Angela. You allowed it to actually happen. Funny old thing, this life, isn't it?
It certainly is, Mary. And, you know, I hope that at some level, you know, this might have helped one of our listeners today.
Well, I know it's helped me, Angela.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Mary.
Yeah,
and
it's helped me. I'm going to ready to look about, you know, where have I got little thoughts in my patterning that associate blame and cause? Where can I free that into, say, cause is about creativity, cause is about inspiration, cause is about enabling, cause is about all those wonderful moving forward things. It's not about pointing the finger and saying,
that's right,
that person's, So that's fabulous for me. Love you and bless you for that, Angela.
Most welcome, Mary. And I think, you know, I'm going to be studying it as well this week. So it'll be interesting for our next conversation to see what insights we've uncovered, because I'm sure there will be some.
Yeah.
As there are pretty much every single day, if we but notice them, aren't there?
Definitely.
If we switch our awareness on and notice them, and there's learnings to be had from everything and every situation. So I think we've reached the end of the show, Mary, and it's been absolutely fascinating discussing this topic. And thank you so much for your input, which has been invaluable as well.
Thank you.
And I do hope, as I say, that this topic will have resonated with someone who's listening or will be listening in the future to the replay, and may just cause them to think, just think a little more deeply about what's going on. Are they on the effect side? If they are, how can they flip themselves over to be on the cause side? And when we're on the cause side, that is, as you say, the creative side, and that's how we put into motion the things that we want to create in our life. And so with that, I think it's time to say farewell, and we will be here again next week. So thank you everyone for listening today. I really hope you've enjoyed the show. You've been listening to the Manifest Your Ideal Life show with me, Angela Kane, and my dear friend Mary Tudor. So thank you for listening everyone, and we will catch you again next time. Many blessings, and bye for now.
WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network presents with Transformational Life Coach